What's up, y'all? Welcome back to GridironTalkZone. Today, I'm going to be projecting the quarterback rankings for 2023, the NFL season. So basically, what this is, I'm looking at every quarterback starting, all 32, and I'm projecting how they're going to play from 32 to 1. So a projection is based off, okay, how talented is the quarterback? How are the players around them going to help impact the production? And how are they going to produce this season? And resulting in how we'll view them ranking at the end of the season. So, projecting the top 32 quarterbacks, without further ado, let's get into it. Starting off at number 32, Clayton Tune. I'm projecting Clayton Tune to end up starting most games for the Cardinals this year. I think Josh Dobbs will probably start week one. I think Kyler Murray is going to miss the whole year with injury. But Clayton Tune, I think he has potential as a pocket passer and accuracy standpoint. He just doesn't have much to work with, and I don't think he's going to play that much. So he's ranked at 32. On to number 31, Baker Mayfield, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Listen, I think there's a lot of sloppiness to Baker's game. I think he can be solid with a good run game and rollout play action system, but he just doesn't have that in Tampa. The run game's not very good. The O line's not very good, and I think he's kind of reckless. And I think he's going to struggle this year. And it wouldn't shock me if Kyle Trask ends up starting some of the games this year. On to number 30, Jimmy Garoppolo. I get it. He won in San Francisco. He's solid from the pocket, pretty good from the pocket. Um, but I think he really struggles decision making, especially under pressure. Doesn't provide much throwing the ball downfield to elevate your offense. So I think in Vegas, he isn't going to have the best year. Have him at number 30. Number 29, CJ Stroud. Well, I do like CJ Stroud's potential down the line. I think he can be a good NFL quarterback with his accuracy, his pocket poise, and his ability to move when needed and improvise. Not amazing, but pretty solid. But going from Ohio State's receivers, Marvin Harrison, Jackson Smith and Jigba, a couple years back, Olave and Garrett Wilson, to the Texans receivers, arguably the worst receiving core in football, I think that's going to be a big transition, and he's going to have to improve as far as his anticipatory throws and his timing and throwing the ball because the receivers aren't going to get as open as they would at Ohio State. So I think it'll be a little bit of adjustment. So I have Stroud at 29 as a rookie. On to number 28, Anthony Richardson. I like Richardson's potential down the line. I think he can become an elite quarterback one day. But as a rookie, well, he has a high floor rushing. That's why I have him over Stroud. I think his floor is high because his rushing, or more high than Stroud, I should say. And I think he's a little underrated from the pocket. He just has miles to grow as an accuracy quarterback. His accuracy really struggled at Florida, but he was young, only a sophomore last year, still learning how to play the position. So I think he's going to take time, and that's why I have him struggling as a rookie. But I still think he'll be exciting with his rushing ability. So I have him at 28. 27, Ryan Tannehill. Listen, I get it. It may seem low, but Tannehill has regressed from an aggressiveness standpoint, throwing the ball downfield, partly due to losing A.J. Brown. Now he has Hopkins, so maybe that can get back to where it was. But from an athletic standpoint, he isn't the runner he was a few years ago. And, well, he's still solid from the pocket and accurate. It isn't as good and as efficient as it was a few years ago. So he's regressed. They've drafted his replacements for a reason. Malik Willis a few years ago. That may not work out, so now they drafted Will Levis. But they're trying to replace him. I think it's his last year starting for the Titans. On to 26, Desmond Riddle. Desmond Riddle, I think, is set up for success. That's why I have him at 26 because of the O-line being very good, the run game being good. But I think he is a struggling quarterback from an accuracy standpoint. I think the accuracy will be inconsistent and hold him back. But I will say he did improve from game to game the 4 games he played last year. The numbers back it up, the PFF grade. He improved from game to game, which you like to see. And I think he can be solid from the pocket in the short to intermediate range. I just don't think he provides enough elevating to this offense or is really a consistent, accurate thrower to be ranked any higher than this. Number 25, Matthew Stafford. Listen, it may seem low. I get it. He won the Super Bowl a few years ago. But last year when he played, he was not a top 15 quarterback, maybe not even top 20. He isn't the most accurate quarterback. He struggles with decision making. And being a pocket quarterback with a really bad offensive line, he's probably going to age and it's not going to be as pretty as it was a few years ago. Look at Matt Ryan with the Colts. Aging pocket quarterback, poor O-line, declined. Big Ben with the Steelers a few years ago, same thing. So, yes, he still has the lead arm. Yes, he can throw it downfield well. He has a good connection with Cooper Cup. But I think some things, due to aging and a bad O-line, they're just not going to they're going to hold him back, and he's not going to be as good as a few years ago. So I have Stafford at 25. On to number 24, Jordan Love of the Green Bay Packers. Now, Jordan Love's an interesting quarterback. So I think sitting behind Rodgers, that's only going to help him. I think the talent is there, the arm strength, the mobility, the athletic ability, the improvising ability. And a few years ago, the few times he played, specifically the game versus the Chiefs in the regular season, and I believe his only career start, he did not look good. Sloppy, inaccurate, poor reads, poor timing. But last year, he went in a few games, just whenever the games were kind of out of hand for Green Bay. Specifically, the Sunday night Eagles game stood out. He made good throws on time over the middle of the field, made a really good throw back shoulder to Aaron Jones that was dropped along the sideline. But I just feel like we've seen steady improvements in the little bit we've seen of Jordan Love, and I think he's poised to have a decent season. Um, but granted, the weaponry isn't very good. And I think that's kind of going to hold him back, and still not too much experience. But, it's going to be interesting to see how he plays this year. But right now, I have him at 24. On to number 23, Sam Howell of the Washington Commanders. Sam Howell is a quarterback who I thought should have been a first round pick, late first round pick coming out of the draft. I get it. He's only 6 foot, but he's mobile. He's a good pocket passer. Um, and I think what he showed as far as preseason, the timing versus the Ravens, ability to get the ball out on time accurately, and I think he showed some good flashes against the Cowboys week 18 in his lone start in his rookie year, to where I think there's something there with Sam Howell. And I think he's going to be a good quarterback one day. I just think first year, tough division, tough defenses to go against 6 times a year. I think he's going to have his ups and downs, and that's okay. He's a young quarterback, but I still think he's going to show me enough to have him ranked at 23. On to number 22, Bryce Young, Carolina Panthers, rookie number 1 overall pick. Now, I love Bryce Young. I think in a year or two, he's going to be a top 15, top 10 quarterback in the league. It's just going to take a few years to get there, and that's okay. He played in the SEC, so he went up against the best college football competition, which I think is good to prepare him for the NFL, but he's still going to be a rookie quarterback, undersized, have to go through some ups and downs with not the best receiving core or offensive line in front of him. Um, but what to like, the anticipatory throws. I mentioned Stroud has to grow in that aspect, going from Ohio State to Carolina, or not Carolina, Houston. Bryce Young didn't have the best receivers at Alabama last year compared to most Alabama years. So he really had to squeeze throws into tight windows on time and anticipate throws. And I think he did that at a high level. His reads are great, his pocket poise, so much to like that translates to the NFL. And on top of that, he has athletic upside too. I think he's going to be a top 10 quarterback, like I said, in a year or two. But I think right now, as a rookie, that's high expectations, especially considering the team he has around him. So I have him at 22 as a rookie. On to number 21. This one may be a controversial one in most people's eyes, but it's Dak Prescott. Now, Dak Prescott, last year, you can say Dak Prescott was around the 15th to 20th best quarterback. He had a down year. He missed some time, but the games he played in, he threw 15 interceptions in 12 games. That's on pace for like a 20-plus interception season. That was not a good season from Dak last year. The decision making struggled. He's really not that athletic of a quarterback who doesn't provide much. He doesn't provide much mobility. Um, he doesn't attack the ball downfield super well. He's inconsistent with his accuracy. So there's a lot of flaws in his game that people just don't really talk about. I don't know if it's because he plays for the Cowboys or what, but he does have good weaponry. Um, but the reason why I'm at 21 is the reasons I mentioned. On top of that, he lost his coordinator, Kellen Moore. So I think Dak is set up to, not have the season that people are maybe expecting him to have. Coming off a down year, I feel like, again, similar to Tannehill, those just young guys that are passing up these veteran quarterbacks. And Dak is one of those guys who, if you're not getting better and he's actually getting worse based off of last year, then you're going to be passed up and you're going to move down in the rankings from where you were 2, 3 years ago. So that's kind of where I'm at with Dak Prescott. I think losing Kellen Moore is going to hurt, having Mike McCarthy as main play caller. Um, and I think he's, not the most accurate, good decision making quarterback that you need to be if you're a pocket quarterback in the NFL. Like, look at Kirk Cousins. Very accurate, very good decision maker, even pushes the ball downfield well. Those are areas of the game that we just haven't seen Dak take another step at. And I think at this point in his career, if he doesn't take another step in those aspects, he's going to be the 21st best quarterback in football. That's why I have him ranked for 2023. At number 20, Russell Wilson of the Denver Broncos. Wilson is a quarterback who's coming off by far the worst year of his career. But with that being said, I think he's going to bounce back a little bit, but not a ton. That's why I have me at 20 and not like in the top 15. I think you automatically have to have a better year than last year with the coach Sean Payton. The reason why I don't think he's going to get back to that elite status is because I do think with his time in the NFL, he hasn't taken that step as a pocket passer. He's still been a guy who mainly relies on the athletic and the, wow plays. And we saw his athleticism decrease last year. And I think in the Sean Payton offense, you see a guy like Drew Brees, consistent, accurate, quick timing pocket passer. That's just not Wilson's game. He can be an accurate passer. Granted, he wasn't last year, but he's shown he can be an accurate passer. But he's not really that just quick decision making pocket passer that I think fits in a Sean Payton offense well. So I think the fit with Sean Payton may not be amazing, but I still think the two are going to work it out enough to where Wilson can still be solid. I have him at 20. On to 19, Brock Purdy, San Francisco 49ers. Purdy, man, he showed something in his last, how many games he started last year. Very good in the Shanahan offense, distributor of the football, good decision maker, quick timing, accurate. I'm at 19 though, because I don't see him providing too much of a wow threat from the traits ability. I don't think he is going to just make this offense explosive downfield. I think they're going to have a lot of run after catch plays, but I don't think Purdy is going to push the ball downfield at a high level, and I think that could hold his game back to just being in this kind of average-ish tier. I also don't think he's the most athletic quarterback who's a threat to run for a lot of yards or anything. So, I see him operating the Shanahan offense well from the pocket, quick decision, on time. But yeah, I just don't see too much elevating from Purdy. That's why he's in the average tier at 19. On to number 18, Mac Jones. Mac Jones, I think he's similar to Purdy, how I mentioned, except I think he's bigger than Purdy, and I think he is even probably a better pocket passer. Mac Jones is like almost robotic from the pocket. He's one of the, I'd say, 7, 8 best pocket passers in football. Um, Last year was a mess because of obviously having Matt Patricia as his offensive coordinator. Now he brings in my opinion, a good offensive football coach, Bill O'Brien, to be his new offensive coordinator. And I think he's going to have a pretty good deal. Again, pocket, accuracy, getting the ball out on time. But like Purdy, he doesn't wow you with the athletic ability to run and make plays outside the pocket or run. But I will say I think Mac stretches the field a little bit better than Purdy. That's why I have him a spot above Purdy. On to number 12, or 17, my bad. On to number 17, Jared Goff, Detroit Lions. Now, Goff is coming off one of his best years of his career, probably more of a top 12 to 13-ish quarterback last year. But I think you're looking at, a lot of things fell into piece for him. And now Ben Johnson's going into his second year as the Lions OC. So you're wondering, can teams kind of figure him out a little bit more than last year? And I don't think he has the talent. He has talent, but I don't think he has the athletic talent to, provide a little bit of a game plan nightmare. Coaches are going to know what's coming from Detroit. They're going to try to stop it. Sometimes they're going to be successful. Sometimes they won't be. But I still think Goff, I don't think he stretches the ball downfield well, but I think he's accurate, good from the pocket, and he can actually get the ball out pretty solid under pressure. So I think he has enough to be the 17th best quarterback. I just don't see him going and being a top 12 quarterback or anything like you could have argued he was last year. But Jared Goff, good enough to be the 17th best quarterback for 2023. On to the top 16. At number 16, I have Tua Tagovailoa. Now, Tua is coming off a year where you could debate, top 10, maybe 12, start off hot, slow down, struggle with injuries, but I think he's going to have another productive year. That's why I'm at 16. I think he doesn't have the strongest arm, but he's worked around that with his ability to be accurate and on time downfield. And with having guys like Hill and Waddle, that boost his downfield production and, helps him maybe look better downfield passing than he really is. And to go on top of that, very good pocket quarterback, good pocket movement, can get the ball out under pressure accurately, quickly. So I think he has a lot of traits that, work in this Mike McDaniel offense well and can put up numbers and make him a top 16 quarterback. On number 15, Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson's kind of the wild card of the NFL this year. Like years ago, he was a top 5, 7-ish quarterback. But then he sat out, was out of the NFL, suspended, and sat out 1 year, then was suspended for about a year and a half. And then he came back for, I think, 6 games last year, 5 or 6 games. I want to say 5 games, but I'm not sure if it was 5 or 6. It may have been 6. But anyway, he was not very good in those games. We just saw, really the pocket presence wasn't there. He panicked early, tried to escape pressure, lost a step of athleticism, I noticed. But I think with another offseason, he can get back in shape, hopefully improve mentally on the field, because that was an area where we saw struggles last year, decision making. But I still think he has that accuracy that you want to see in a franchise quarterback, and that, pocket ability can get back to where it was. If the pocket ability can get back to where it was with that nice bounce in the pocket, quick release, then he can be a top 10 quarterback once again. I think he's going to start to pick it up at the end of the year, but I think it's going to take time. But eventually, we'll look at him as a good quarterback again. So I have him at number 15. Number 14, Daniel Jones, a quarterback that I think he's kind of going under the radar. Early in his career, we knew he had the talent. He just kind of wasn't putting it together. Decision making, accuracy wasn't quite there. But last year, he was actually one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the NFL. Granted, he wasn't throwing the ball downfield at a high rate, mainly doing a lot of dink and dunks, but I felt like in the short to intermediate range, he still threw the ball accurately in Brian Dable's system, and good pocket presence, good decision making, at least compared to past years. And you factor in he's one of the better running quarterbacks in football, I think you're looking at a top 15 quarterback. Now, if he can take another step as far as become more of a vertical passing threat like he was early in his career at times, then we're talking maybe a top 10 potential quarterback, because he really does have all the talent to be a top 10 quarterback one day. But I feel like 14 is a good spot for him. Number 13, Derek Carr. Listen, Carr had a lot of hate for last year, but watching him, he is still a very good pocket quarterback with good accuracy, good poise. Under pressure, he can move in the pocket and get the ball out well, and he still has a really nice deep ball. So you look at all these things in his game, he was inconsistent at times last year. I think fresh new start, he's going to clean some of those things up. And you just factor in, I think, new start, a familiar face, and Dennis Allen as his coach. I think you factor these things in, he's going to be able to put together a pretty good season. Now, he doesn't have the athletic upside, like as far as running, making wow throws on the run, to be like a top 8 or 7 quarterback, maybe. But I think he's a pretty, very good pocket quarterback who can attack the ball downfield and threaten the defense that way. And I think he's going to be more efficient than he was last year and put up good numbers. So I have him at number 13. Now on to number 12, the quarterback who I expect to take the biggest jump in the NFL this year. That's Kenny Pickett. Now Pickett is a quarterback in college who I think very accurate, good pocket ability, and he had some athletic ability too. Not the strongest arm, but was able to be effective throwing the ball downfield. Then you look at last year as a rookie. Well, some of those things were true. Athletic, can be effective at times throwing it downfield. The accuracy really wasn't as good as you expected it to be. Um, but I feel like the decision making was pretty good. And I feel like he improved every step of the way down the stretch of the year, leading big time comeback drives. Now I think going into year 2, I think he's more poised, going to be more calm in the pocket, more ready to play. And I think the accuracy is going to click. I think the accuracy will click. He has the upside to run the ability to throw downfield, the timing. I mean, we've seen improvements. I know it's preseason, but preseason he had a perfect passer rating. That's impressive. And he was throwing the ball downfield like I know he can. He has good weaponry. So I think that Pickett's going to take a big stride this year and really has a good shot to lead the Steelers to the playoffs. Number 11 quarterback, Kirk Cousins. No doubt Kirk Cousins was a top 8 to 10 quarterback in football last year. Just amazing from the pocket. Very good decision making. Had the third most deep yards, I believe, off the top of my head. Very accurate, very clutch. So I think a lot of those things are going to continue. The accuracy, I think he can throw the ball downfield to Jefferson well. The pocket ability is up there with the best in football. The timing, the getting the ball out under pressure has been impressive. Um, but I think there's some young quarterbacks that can maybe pass him, and I think really he had a rare clutch in the seal for like any quarterback. How clutch he was last year. It's hard to have 8 game winning drives 2 years in a row and 8 fourth quarter comebacks. So I think by default he's going to move down a spot or two, but I still think he's a very good quarterback. That's why I have him at number 11. Number 10, Lamar Jackson. Now Lamar Jackson, he really needs to finish the season because like we know the talent, he can be a top 5 to 7 quarterback in football. I just think the consistency hasn't been there, and I think having a new offense, it's going to be a different offense, more of a spread pass offense with Todd Monken. I think that may take a little bit of adjustment time, maybe an adjustment year. That's why I don't think he's going to be this top 5 to 7 quarterback, but I still think he's going to put up good numbers. His athletic ability is going to stand out, and he's going to, do a lot for this Ravens offense. So I still have him at 10. I just think in a new system, he's not going to be like elite. I think he's going to be really good, but probably not elite. Year one in the new system. Number 9, Justin Fields, a quarterback who I think gets disrespected a lot. I think right now you can fairly say he's a top 15 to 17 quarterback. He has athletic upside, fairly good runner that threatens the defense. His deep ball can threaten the defense. But last year, he didn't have many weapons. That really hurt his game, not having those weapons. And um, he wasn't the best decision making quarterback last year. And he hasn't been through his first 2 years. But I will say, I feel like we saw improvement from his accuracy from year 1 to 2 and his pocket ability year 1 to 2. And I think going into year 3 now, adding DJ Moore, a solidified number 1 receiver, improving the offensive line, his first year going into the season being in the same system he was last year, now with year 2 with the offensive coordinator Luke Getsy, I feel like these things only going to help him be more comfortable and help his pocket ability and accuracy grow. Um, so I think Fields is going to, obviously we know the athletic ability scares you, the deep ball. I think he's going to become a more accurate quarterback this year because he was pretty accurate from time to time in college, and I think his pocket ability is going to improve with a better protected O-line, receivers that can get open quicker than last year, and another year in the same system. So I see Fields taking another jump and being the 9th best quarterback in football in 2023. On to the top 8 quarterbacks for 2023. Number 8, Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers didn't have his best year last year. Really, his anticipation, ability to throw the ball out on time and get it out under pressure, I really saw struggle last year. It looked like a chemistry issue. New receivers, young receivers. I think now going over to New York, he's kind of seemed more prepared this offseason with a new team. He has a star receiver in Garrett Wilson and a guy he's familiar with in Alan Lazard. I think he's going to be able to, be this quick decision maker, get the ball out, make good decisions, throw accurately, and from time to time, make a good throw downfield. And I think if Aaron Rodgers can do that, we know the pocket ability is there. Um, like I said, the accuracy, the decision making, we know all the traits are there to be a top 8 quarterback. And I think he's going to put it together and have a good season in New York. On to number 7, Geno Smith. Man, Geno Smith has just been taking stride um, really the last 2 years. Like 2 years ago, he had to play a few games for Russell Wilson. He played good in those games. People forget that. And then last year, he just comes out of nowhere and has an MVP caliber type season for the first, 10 weeks. And then he slows down a little bit, but he was still a top 7, 8 quarterback in football last year. The stats back that up. The tape backs that up. I love the ability to stretch the ball downfield. He throws the ball downfield really well, really accurately, has abilities to make plays under pressure outside the pocket on the run, and he's a pretty good pocket passer too. So I feel like he has all the traits to be a top 10 quarterback, and he showed it last year. And I feel like another year with the same offense, at least the scheme, the same, you add a star slot receiver from the draft, Jackson Smith and Jigba from Ohio State. I think he has the weaponry, an improved offensive line, a good running game with Kenneth Walker. I feel like he has everything he needs to go out and put together another top 10 caliber season. I think he's going to do just that. So I have Dino Smith at 7. On to number 6, Justin Herbert, Los Angeles Chargers. Justin Herbert, I feel like as long as the offensive line is healthy, he has a very good O line. And I feel like they finally got him a number 3 receiver in Quentin Johnston out of TCU in the draft. So I feel like these things are going to only help him. We know he's very talented. Um, One part of his game that I think he needs to grow in. We know he has the arm talent, but he doesn't make the aggressive throws downfield to an extent of a Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes or even Joe Burrow for that matter. So I think one area we need to see him improve is his aggressiveness, and that can help him take another step. But yeah, for sure, elite quarterback, comfortable with him at number 6. Number 5, Josh Allen, Buffalo Bills. I love Josh Allen. The reason why he's not in the top 4, I feel like the other 4 quarterbacks have better supporting cast as far as O line goes, you know, and Josh Allen, he gets a little reckless at times. He gets reckless, can make some bad decisions, but then you turn around and see all the good, the wow throws, the throws that probably only him and Patrick Mahomes can make, that he makes on a week to week basis. All that's very good. But I just feel like, those 4 quarterbacks who I think are going to be a little bit more consistent than Allen this year and end the season ranking just above him. But Allen is still very good, elite quarterback, top 5 in my mind. At number 4, Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, we all know what he showed last year, improved as an accuracy quarterback, improved from the pocket, and led the Eagles to the Super Bowl. He still has a stacked receiving core and a stacked O line, so I think those things are going to be there to help him put together another good, consistent top 5 season. Accuracy, pocket presence, athletic ability, rushing ability, deep ball, it's all there for him. So I just think he has to continue doing what he did last year, and he has a good shot to lead the Eagles back to the Super Bowl. On to number 3, Trevor Lawrence. Now, Trevor Lawrence, he has all the talent to be a top 3 quarterback. And if we're going based off the last 10 weeks of the year, my 1, 2, 3, and even 4, these are the top 4 quarterbacks based off the last 10 weeks of the year. And Lawrence, we just saw the strides he took last year. Very accurate, improving decision maker, although that is one of his weaknesses. He isn't the best decision maker right now, but his ability to throw the ball from the pocket is as good as almost any quarterback in football. And you add that to that, he can run, he's athletic, strong arm, can throw it downfield. Now he gets a number 1 receiver in Calvin Ridley to go along with Christian Kirk, his main slot guy. He has potential to have an MVP caliber season. I think the O line may hurt a little bit because the O line isn't very good, but I really think he has all the talent to put together a top 3 season, so I have him at number 3. Number 2, Patrick Mahomes. Really isn't a knock on Patrick Mahomes. I get it. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in football in general, no doubt. That doesn't mean he's going to win MVP and be the best quarterback every single season. And I think this season, Joe Burrow is going to win MVP, and it's time. It's time for Burrow to have that MVP season, have that Super Bowl run where he wins it and win Super Bowl MVP like Mahomes just did. But Burrow, man, one of the best deep ball throwers in football, the best pocket passer in football in my opinion, and very accurate. One of the most accurate quarterbacks in football. Can't make all the crazy throws to the level that Mahomes makes them on a consistent basis, but he isn't too far off. He has everything you need to be the best quarterback in football. I have him at number 1 for this year. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. These are projections for this year. Comment down below what you thought of my list, what you tweak. You can even comment your entire rankings if you'd like. But anyway, until next time, peace.